It's the end of October, and here we go with the witches and ghoulies and goblins. And that's just the moms and their kids on Halloween night. Still, it's time I remind you of something. I wanted to revisit the college-wide late policy that some of you are either not aware of, not happy with, or are ignoring altogether. The English departments of the 4 campuses of Delaware Technical Community College set forth a cohesive late policy which all instructors must follow. For the smaller assignments, also known as the formative assessments, you have up to 48 hours to turn it in for a late penalty of a 10% hit to your final grade for that assignment. And that's 10% of the total points, not 10% of what you've earned. For the larger assignments, also known as summative assignments, you have up to 1 week to turn it in for a late penalty of 15% hit to your final grade for that assignment. And again, that's 15% of the total points, not 15% of what you've earned. Since I was very clear about this in the very first video you should have watched for this course, I just wanted to remind you that this is not a new policy. Sorry to bring you down so early in the video, but it needed to be said. Now that we've gotten that reviewed, let's talk about what's going on this week, shall we? To start, I've found that reminding you of the weekly announcement is pretty helpful. I mean, at least for me anyway. This way, if you watch the video, you know that there's an announcement. If you read the announcement anyway, then you're already seeing it. Regardless, I'm covered. So, here it is. Week 9 was last week. Week 10 is this week. We have the video here with your video chapter listing. It's not all that long this week. What you can preview, what you can read this week, and what has to be completed by next Sunday. So, once we get through this, let's go back and look to the right. We see the course schedule. Click on that. We get to here. Scroll all the way down to week 10, and boom, there we go. Wait a minute. What? What's that I see? There are no assignments due this week? That must be a mistake, right? Let me consult my schedule and files. No assignments due. Wow, that was pretty awesome for all of us, is it not? So then let's look at what we have to review for the week. Oh, that makes sense. It's the most important part of your development paragraphs, the CSET tie-in, right? No wonder there's nothing due. I want you to work on your development this week. So here's the schedule I'd love for you to adhere to. I have a plan that, if you follow it, you won't be stressing out the night before the paper is due, working feverishly to get everything done in just 2 hours. As you can see, we are in week 10. There is nothing due this week to be submitted. But there's a very important discussion board next week in week 11. So, what should you be doing this week instead of nothing? Well, this week I want you to work on your argument portion. That would be the minimum 3 argument points that will support your side of the argument. Each of those points will feature 1 claim, the topic sentence, and then however much evidence you will use to prove your point. So with each piece of evidence, you will have an associated setup and tie-in, as we speak about in 1 minute or 2. So that would be a minimum of 3 very well-developed paragraphs using CSET, okay? Now, yes, CSET is claim, setup, evidence, tie-in. We only have 1 claim, but we have multiple pieces of evidence, so it might actually be a CSET, set, you know? Okay. Anyway, I can see 4 to 5 paragraphs for your argument side, but that's just me. That means by Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, you should have your argument completed and saved in a file somewhere safe. After that, as you can see here, we will be discussing the counter-argument and the rebuttal in week 11. By the end of that week, even if it's not just a discussion board, you should have your counter-argument and rebuttal section finished. That means, over the next 2 weeks and by the end of week 11, your entire development section should be completed minus the background section, but that's relatively easy to build. Think about that for a second. A couple of weeks prior to the paper actually being due, you'll have probably 85% of the paper completed with only the introduction, background, and conclusion to go. Those being the easier portions of the paper, your stress should be minimal. You're welcome. So now that we've done that, you can always click on the CSET resources and take a look at everything attached to CSET. If you want to reintroduce it to yourself, go for it. Talking about topic sentences, talking about how to set things up, talk about the evidence. Should we quote, paraphrase, or summarize? We're going to talk about tie-in strategies today, and we have common problems and what to do, as well as the CSET challenge we'll finish up with. So, let's click on the tie-in strategies. As you can see, one of the things they want us to talk about this week, and we get to here. So let's talk about it. Now, the page that you've been given here isn't really all that long or involved, but it does bring up two very good points to tie in your material: summary and new insights. Honestly, if you really want to know what a tie-in is, it's this. How does the evidence you just supplied bolster your topic, sentence, or claim? How does it affect your overall thesis and argument? Can you explain the ways that it takes your argument in a new, stronger direction? How are things going to connect when you have multiple pieces of evidence in the same paragraph? Well, think of it this way. The material you are presenting through the direct quote or paraphrase is great, but your reader can say, "So what?" to it. The tie-in is your opportunity to say, "Look, I know you may not understand what I just said, so let me help you understand why it's important to me in my argument." By explaining that, the reader knows you're taking the time to illustrate something very important, and the more you repeat something, the more your reader will process it as important and necessary. See what I mean? So you can take a look with the ways that they do it here, and that's fine. Or you can take a look at the sample paper. Either way works. But remember, your tie-in is there to explain the concept very clearly to your reader. Going back, we see that we can complete the CSET challenge, which, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about many weeks ago. Didn't we? Maybe we didn't. Okay, well, the CSET challenge is very helpful because it's going to show you exactly what this looks like. So clicking on there will take us to this, and then you kind of have to figure out, hey, where do all these things go? Well, you know what? If we're going to provide support for your claim and thesis in the form of a quote or paraphrase, we're going to put evidence there. If we're going to state the reason for your position, well, is it claim, setup, or tie-in? Is it introducing and giving context for the quote? Is it claim, setup, or tie-in? Once you're ready, you hit submit and off you go. If it doesn't give you the answers you want, please email me and let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. And that's the video, folks. Just about 2.5 pages of script. In any case, I hope that you'll take my advice with scheduling of your paper. If you do it how I've laid out for you earlier in this video, you're going to find that you won't be stressing out nearly as much as you would waiting until the last minute to do it. Get on it. It's getting darker. It's getting colder. It's getting awesomer. I love this weather. To the fire pit. Well, get your own damn fire pit. Don't come in my house. I don't want you to crash my backyard. Have a great weekend.